I bought the Switch OLED in 2023 despite owning a PlayStation 5, a pretty decent PC, and a Steam Deck. So why did I do that? Well, it's pretty much because of... But more specifically, it was because... but there are some other reasons too, so let's talk about that. So to start, this thing only cost me £200. Now it is technically used, but the seller used it once to set up an account, and that was it. So if you're looking at a massive discount for something that is basically new. And now you may be thinking, oh, well, that's great for you, Mike, found a great deal. What about the rest of us? But that's the thing, is the used prices on Switches are absolutely crazy. Because it's one of the most popular consoles ever made, the used market is absolutely saturated with these. I've kept a really close eye on Facebook Marketplace for used OLEDs since buying this, and crazy deals come up for these every day. And because it's a bit more like a casual console, you get a lot of people that don't really know the price of it, so will often way undervalue a Switch. A lot of people I saw selling don't even really know the difference between like an OLED and the regular Switch. As I said, this only cost me 200 quid, which is less than half of what I paid for my Steam Deck. And also, if you do buy it used, you know that you can sell it for a pretty similar price to what you bought it at. And I may have to sell it if Nintendo does announce a sequel. Which we should probably talk about. So something else that put me off buying my own Switch for the longest time was this constant looming of a Nintendo Switch Pro or a Nintendo Switch 2. But I've just really come to the realization this year that it's not going to be here for a good while longer. Now I know this is like a bigger discussion, but in a nutshell, I think the fact that Tears of the Kingdom is out this week and there is still no real concrete leaks about a sequel tells me that we're not going to see it at least for another year, possibly longer. Although it's nearly impossible to tell with the sheer amount of Switch 2 clickbait. It's so intense and I have no idea what's going on anymore. Although looking at the poor Switch 2 mock-ups has been pretty entertaining to see. What on earth is this? Who's making these? But anyway, what I've gathered from a lot of these videos is that the only real tangible leak is the processor of the next Nintendo console, but that could be anything. It could be nothing like a Switch. It could be something completely different. It also doesn't mean that it's coming soon. It could be 2 years' time and they're just readying the supply chain, maybe, I guess, I don't know. And although Switch sales are dwindling a little bit right now, Switch game sales have just hit 1 billion games sold, which is mental. And because the Switch is already in so many households and has embedded itself within the sort of like casual family kind of space so well, I don't know if they're as fussed about pushing out a new console as soon as possible. Now I haven't done a great job of arguing this case, but there's this video made by Biometic, I think that's how you say his name. He made a video on this subject a couple weeks back and I think he hit the nail on the head. So if you want to know more about my opinion on why I don't think the Switch is coming soon, he summed it up way better than I could. Go check out his video. And on the note of the refreshed OLED, although it's not the sort of internal change we'd been hoping for, the screen is really, really stunning. For the last couple of years, I always borrowed my sister's Switch when I wanted to play a Nintendo game, and I always liked it, but the screen sucked. And because the screen was a bit smaller too, I just really didn't like playing in handheld mode. Whereas the OLED, oh my God, it makes me feel sad plugging it into my TV because the screen on here is just so good. It's so contrasted and bold and colourful and straight up makes games look considerably sharper. I hate to say it, but it makes me kind of sad that I can't get this screen on my Steam Deck. I'm sorry, Steam Deck boys. Another reason is that the Switch is just still the king of local multiplayer. It is just a sick thing to boot up when you've got some family and friends around. I actually spent a Saturday night with a couple of friends playing Mario Party, and it was just sick. It was so much fun, and nothing quite comes close to Nintendo Switch when it comes to having a group of people in a room playing a game together.
Oh, fucking
Oh my god, you have been done by Bowser, mate. Bowser has ruined your evening.
But like, you can just play local multiplayer on any console, which is true, but Nintendo just has a major leg up in several ways. To start, everyone knows Nintendo games. You say, hey guys, do you want to play some Mario Kart? Everyone knows what you're talking about. If you say, hey, you want to play Nickelodeon Kart Races 3 Slime Speedway, it doesn't quite have the same appeal to it, does it? And Nintendo knows this and really runs with it. They really do design so many of their games around ease of use, accessibility, and just straight up fun. Even down to the hardware. If you're playing games with a friend or family that doesn't play games, this is much less intimidating than a PS5 controller with a ton of buttons and stuff, you know. And it means my total noob friends that come in and play games can still get involved and have fun despite not being a pro gamer like me. But like most people, I do have a love-hate relationship with Joy-Cons. On one hand, the Joy-Con drift sucks. Using them in handheld mode is just pretty uncomfortable. And the joysticks are so short as well for playing more fleshed out games. I find these really frustrating. But on the flip side, as I said, they're so perfect for people that are new to games. The simple layout and design of a single Joy-Con is just so easy to wrap your head around. And that's another thing, the fact that you get 2 controllers in one for those multiplayer games. I don't know about you, but I never have owned like 4 controllers for the same console. They're really big, really expensive, and I don't play 4-player enough to warrant buying 4 controllers. However, the fact that I can use the Joy-Cons that came with the controller and then just buy 1 extra means I can play those 4-player games like Mario Kart, Smash Bros, Mario Party with 4 players still. And I've only spent a fraction on the sheer amount of controllers you'd need to buy for something like a PlayStation 5. So another reason is that Zelda just has me by the balls, man. I know I joked about it in the beginning, but honestly, that series has such a hold over me that I would buy a £300 console in an instant if it meant playing the next in the series. I bought a Wii U solely for the purpose of playing Wind Waker HD. That and Breath of the Wild are the only 2 games I owned for that console. I cannot wait until Tears of the Kingdom. By far my most anticipated game for the last 5 years. But I know what you're thinking. But like, why don't you just set up an emulator on your Steam Deck, you idiot? Now, I don't want to upset anyone here. I know I've got a lot of Steam Deck fans on the channel, and a lot of which who are really into emulating, which is sick. I love that. But for me, I'm at a stage in my life where I just want to come home, play my games, and not have to spend hours on tweaking them, getting them right, handling Nintendo lawsuits, and getting midway through the game for it to crash. Now, I know there's been a lot of talk about emulation around Tears of the Kingdom, and I don't know, man, it just seems like such a mess. I just don't want to risk having a bad time playing it. I'd rather spend £200 on a smooth, legal experience. I'm not saying I'm anti-emulation, by the way. I think especially for like older games, I think it's sick. For me personally, trying to emulate newer Switch games just feels like a massive faff that I personally can't be bothered with. And I do think this is relevant to more people than me. The top 2 best-selling Switch games are Mario Kart and Animal Crossing. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think the average Animal Crossing player is gonna wanna scalp through anime porn-ridden websites, downloading dodgy links to try and get Animal Crossing to work on their Steam Deck. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure there are Animal Crossing players out there that are willing to do that. Maybe you like that experience, and that's fine. I'm not judging you. And on the note of Animal Crossing, the final reason behind buying the Switch is because my partner Helen wanted to play some Animal Crossing. And I don't think she fancied looking through those anime porn websites, surprisingly. And she really makes up who the Switch is for. A dirty, pathetic, casual gamer. I'm joking, I love you. But you know, she doesn't really care about frame rate, crazy performance. She just wants to chill out on the sofa and play Animal Crossing and 1 or 2 other little games And the Switch is absolutely perfect for that. And for the first time in our 8-year relationship, it's finally what's getting her into gaming, and she's actually enjoying it.
Oh, look at the tambourine.
For the last week, she hasn't gone a day without checking in on her island. It just makes me so happy to see, you know?
Oh, look, Antonio, you didn't pick my flowers, you shit.
And because of its portable nature, she can just play in bed or on the sofa beside me when I'm playing my Steam Deck.
Third try.
So to wrap this up, I know it's not the most high-tech, compelling console to buy in 2023, but I still think it has a place, and I still think it's totally worth buying. I still believe it's filling a gap that no other console is quite filling, given the Steam Deck and these other portable handhelds are making moves into the space. But I still feel like the Switch has enough going for it to separate it from those consoles or PCs. And if you do want to pick up one this year, I think going for a good used one is just the way to go, as it's such good value for money. And the enjoyment of using this over the last couple of weeks alone has already made the purchase totally worth it for me. But I'm really interested to hear what your take on the Switch in 2023 is. I know there's a lot of opinions flying around at the minute. I know a lot of people are really underwhelmed by the performance at the minute. Then equally, Tears of the Kingdom. So many people wanting to play that and looking to buy a Switch around this time. If you're into Switch stuff, feel free to check out this video I made about this absolutely sick pair of GameCube Joy-Cons. Thank you so much for chilling out with me here today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you really soon.